A new 100-hour monthly playtime cap is about to take effect for new and existing GeForce Now subscribers. Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only game news show brave enough to tell you this sucks even more than it actually seems like it sucks.
Yeah, nobody wants a cap, but this is all pointing to a very bad future for gaming. I mean, we're looking at a situation here where tech companies have practically cornered the market on PC hardware, potentially forcing everyone into cloud streaming setups that they're already in-shitifying before we even get there. Damn.
Yeah, this does not look good. All right, so let's start with the news that is sort of news, sort of not. Starting on January 1st, 2026, new and existing NVIDIA GeForce Now subscribers will be subject to a 100-hour monthly cap.
Yes, and like most caps, it's kind of complicated. If you don't use all 100 hours in a given month, 15 of those unused hours can roll over into the next month.
Weird. Additional hours beyond that are billed a la carte based on your tier. Performance subscribers pay $3 for 15 hours, and the Ultimate subscribers pay $6 for 15 hours.
That's not the worst, I guess. That's a lot of time for not that much money, but still, getting micro billed doesn't feel good at all. The only exception here is for Founders members. Anyone who subscribed before March 17th, 2021 is exempt from this time cap as long as they remain subscribed forever. So you have it in perpetuity until you miss a month or cancel or whatever.
Is that you, Lawrence? Are you a Founders member?
No, I buy my hardware. I like having a big box that spits out heat and carbon in my house. But we'll get to that in a minute.
All right. Well, all this really sucks, this subscriber bullshit and trying to figure out 15 hours. And it really does get worse. But we will go over all the context and the troubling implications right after this ad read from FitXR.
I just finished a workout with FitXR, and as you can see, it put me through my paces. Look at this. Whether you're just beginning on your fitness journey or you've been at it for a while, FitXR offers workouts of every intensity and a lot of different styles. It includes boxing, combat training, high-intensity interval training, dance, and much more. Classes start at just 10 minutes, meaning you can squeeze it into any busy schedule, and you can stack multiple classes back-to-back if you want a really intense, full-body, high-intensity workout. FitXR isn't static either. It changes all the time to encourage you to keep coming back. They have monthly updates that they call seasons, and these include new environments to work out in, new classes, and new challenges to give you goals to aim for and keep you coming back every time and keep that consistency up. FitXR is also affordable at only $12.99 a month. That's way cheaper than a lot of gyms, and you don't have to worry about the complete decline in gym etiquette. Put your weights back, for the love of God, people. And on top of that, you can get your first month of FitXR for free using our promo code InsideGameF1 and get that gamer body you've always craved. Thank you very much, FitXR, for the support and the killer workout. Thank you for that zesty boxing workout, FitXR. All right, last we left our story, NVIDIA is just days away from slapping a 100-hour monthly limit on almost all GeForce Now subscribers.
Okay, this sucks, but it's technically not new news. NVIDIA announced these changes back in late 2024. At the time, the caps would only apply to new subscribers. That made it pretty easy to kind of not care about it. I'm sure they put it out really early because they knew nobody would care about it back then.
Yeah, you just wait away. Oh, it's a whole year away. Big deal. So that was one factor. Another factor that made it easy to not care in 2024 was that RAM didn't cost more than a luxury car at the time, but it does now, and that sucks. And it's that plus a lot of other things are starting to form up this vision of the future that is really rotten.
Recent reports claim that NVIDIA, the very same company that's throttling and monetizing your access to its own cloud gaming service, will also cut production of their top-end RTX 50 series video cards by 30 to 40% in early 2026.
Isn't that odd? Isn't that weird? Yeah. These reports come from Chinese outlet Boubantong via BenchLife, who say that NVIDIA will shift production to their lower memory, higher margin video cards, due of course to the memory shortage caused by the data center building boom.
Component competition has caused significant disruption in gaming hardware in the last few years. EVGA exited the graphics card industry altogether in 2022, alluding to difficulties working with NVIDIA. And then earlier this month, Micron announced the closure of their Crucial line of consumer storage devices, citing the demand from AI powering data centers.
Yeah, and that's of course in addition to just the skyrocketing costs of PC components. I mean, it's a bit frustrating. It feels like we've gone from one thing to another. You know, we had crypto and then NFTs and all that shit, and it was making video cards hard to get in the 2020s. But this is starting to feel a little conspiratorial. I don't think that NVIDIA in 2024 knew there would be a RAM shortage in 2026 and decided to put a cap appropriately. But I do think they wanted a cap in place. They wanted to avoid runaway users using too much service and all that stuff. But still, it seems like it's all moving to this very bad situation where the same companies that buy up all the hardware and prevent you from getting it are the same ones that can now rent that same hardware back to you while also depriving you of choice. NVIDIA really is getting their cake and eating it too a million times over in this arrangement. Basically, they don't have to sell components to consumers. They can sell them to venture capital-backed AI startups, or basically sell them to data centers that they then rent out to startups to run AI processing loops. And then they can use what's left over and rent that to you, the consumer, on a scaling model. They can change they can change the deal basically whenever they want. And they're already complicating even that model with a cap and then an overage cost and all that stuff. So once consumers get used to this model, or tolerate it, I think is the better word, they can just keep going. What's to stop them from putting a congestion surcharge on peak usage hours? You know, it really feels like cell phones in the early 2000s, where you had like a free window of 2 hours every other weekend where you could call somebody, or free texts after 9 o'clock. All that garbage eventually went away because of competition, and people preferred cleaner billing. But if NVIDIA is the only stop in town, it's really competition that is what's worrying me. Cloud is no longer competing with local hardware because it doesn't exist anymore, or it's prohibitively priced. And who's competing with NVIDIA for access to cloud? It's really just Xbox. I guess Google tried, but they gave up. Amazon Luna's, I guess, in the mix. So hopefully there will be some intense competition for onboarding for cloud playing clients, now that the ability to buy a goddamn console or a PC is just getting unreasonable. I don't know, Bruce, where do you see all this going? Because to me, it sure does seem like it may not have been by design, but I think now that all the winds are blowing in that direction, companies are more than happy, NVIDIA especially, more than happy to just chase the money. And the money, unfortunately, is not in serving the customer.
There's a bunch of things here, like you've talked about, that are all sort of coalescing to be really, really bad for us as consumers. And I should also say, both Lawrence and I have been sponsored by NVIDIA at times, and I hope to continue to be sponsored by NVIDIA. I love NVIDIA. I've been supporting NVIDIA for 20 years, 30 years almost. And so when I start to see this stuff, it makes me very worried. And I hope that NVIDIA is watching this episode, because I want to tell them, you've got to stop this. Like, you have to stop this now. And the reason is you are going to lose customers because of this. I know you're seeing the RAM prices shoot up, and NVIDIA's like, woohoo! And they're like trillion. They're one of the biggest companies in the world. They're like, woohoo! Like, they just can't stop making money, right? So then this is the overreach. This is the stuff that really starts to make customers angry at them. And I feel like NVIDIA has got a pretty good amount of goodwill built up with people like us who've been supporting this company, because they are a gamer enthusiast company first, before they were ever an AI trillion-dollar company. So we've been supporting them for a really long time. So I'm really hoping that if we are able to tell them, please no more, don't do this anymore, like, please don't push your luck here with us, and then people start pulling away from them, that maybe they'll actually change tack, and hopefully that'll be something that they do early on. I generally think that NVIDIA is a good company. I like them. I like what they do. So I'm really hoping that is not the case. And there's another thing here, Lawrence, that I'm very worried about, like you were talking about with other cloud services, xCloud and Xbox. Xbox is doing the same thing, but we saw they were already pushing the prices up with Game Pass. So they've got xCloud and they've got Game Pass, and they're also hoping to lock us in so that we never leave, and then they can keep raising the price. The only thing that we can do, and I say this over and over on literally every Inside Games episode, the only thing we can do is to cancel the subscription. You've got to stop. You have to find other ways of playing these games, whether or not it's Steam on a Steam Deck or something very cheap that you can just run a few little indie games on. And while these companies fight over trillions of dollars and try to nickel and dime us to death, we have to pull away. That's what we have to do. And it sucks. It really does. It sucks, because I know you probably had Game Pass I was talking to a family member who had Game Pass for a very long time, like 5 years, something like that. And they're like, yeah, we're still paying the $30 a month. And I was like, really? You still doing it? And they're like, Yeah, but because we're locked in, like we have all these games, we've been playing these games for so long, like there's nothing we can do. The thing you can do is cancel. So I would recommend, if you've got GeForce Now and this makes you upset, to cancel. And it's the same with Game Pass and xCloud. Don't dumb it down to the lower tier or whatever. You just got to get out. And I'm on the verge of doing that with a lot of my video streaming services. Those keep nickeling. Those go up every fucking month. I see Apple TV, Hulu, Disney Plus. They're all doing it, and it's driving me insane. And I'm like, I don't mind paying you, but if you keep raising the price, I'm gonna fucking cancel and get the fuck out. And that's the only thing they're gonna listen to. So make sure you do it.
Yeah, I agree. The problem is cancel these services for what? Like, what's the alternative? You mentioned Steam Deck, but even Valve stopped making the cheapest Steam Deck because all the hardware is getting sucked up. So the unfortunate alternative is phone. Like, it's free to play, it's Roblox, it's Fortnite, which is what's been happening and is going to accelerate if this shit keeps going on, which is a huge bummer. To me, that looks like a contraction of the gaming ecosystem, which is, on another philosophical point, the opposite of what PC was supposed to be about. PC is supposed to be an open platform with unlimited competition, but that only really works if you have the box in your house, or your box is somewhere else, but you can do whatever you want with it. What I don't like is these systems that basically put a closed ecosystem around the PC. So like you said with Game Pass, you start using it because it's cheap. You get your saves on there, you have your friends list on there, you have your achievements or whatever. The whole ecosystem is there. This is another situation with Fortnite and Roblox, how they're all these self-contained ecosystems. And once you're in, you can't get out because all your stuff is in there. And that's what bums me about this. PC is supposed to be open, so let's say you are using GeForce Now and they raise the price too much. You ought to be able to download your goddamn save files and transfer them to another service. But they have a vested interest in preventing you from doing that because they want it to hurt when you leave. So I don't know. This all sucks. This sucks real bad. And what sucks is it was right on the precipice of PC finally blowing open and becoming essentially the de facto standard platform, which would have been Valhalla. It would have been utopia. We were waiting for that. But now it seems like tech companies have found a way to kind of keep the walls up. So what I was hoping is that things like the Steam Machine, the Steam Deck, would lead to these cheap PC-focused devices that would proliferate and allow people access to these open systems. So you have, like, say you have Game Pass on PC, you can download the game, yank the save file right out of the folder, drop it into a Steam game, and you're good to go. Same with Good Old Games or anything like that. You can even bring saves into Game Pass. That takes a little finagling, but you can do it. So it's there was still that interoperability there. So I'm not explicitly tethered to PC Game Pass, even though I still really like that service because it's basically half as much as Ultimate. But if I wanted to get off of it, at least I have a lifeline. I have a way to get all of my progress and saves and stuff out of that service. But with GeForce Now or any cloud streaming service, you're kind of beholden to that login screen. And yeah, if you want to walk away, they're going to take everything from you when you walk away. All the games, all the progress, all of that stuff. So to me, again, that's just anathema to what PC is supposed to be. And the one thing that I did not expect is that the same companies that are building those systems, those closed login systems, are the same ones that are sucking up all the hardware. I guess technically NVIDIA is not the one building the centers and they're not the one fabbing all the RAM, but they're for sure the ones putting in the bids and buying all the wafers before anyone else can get them. So it just leads to less choice. And if the option is a $15,000 gaming PC or $10 a month for, GeForce Now, the option's pretty easy, or the choice is pretty easy to make. And I just wish it weren't like that. I just wish it weren't. Ideally enough time goes by, I think PC hardware will compress it down, and then you can play the premium indie games, which I think is kind of where the soul of gaming is at right now. You can play your Expedition 33s, you can play your Day of the Divers on a piece of hardware that you own, and you can do whatever you want with, and maybe costs $400, hopefully less. Hopefully there will be a future where that happens, but man, the next couple of years are looking rough. Maybe once the AI bubble bursts and we have scavengers looting data centers for RAM chips, popping them off with screwdrivers and going out with big sacks filled with RAM, maybe then we'll get some cheap PC hardware flooding into the flooding into the ecosystem. But man, the next couple of years look really rough, especially being a PC dork like I am.
Yeah, this is just really bleak for us, Lawrence, especially, again, because we've been supporting this company, NVIDIA, for a very, very long time. And I just hate that they're kind of like fucking us now. Like, that really makes me upset. And I'm like, damn, dude, like, I bought your graphics card for so long, brother. Like, what happened? And it turns out companies are not your friend.
Yeah, they just follow the money. Yeah, no, I remember trying to install a custom heatsink on my NVIDIA card to play Far Cry 1 in like 2003. So I've been buying NVIDIA products for a long time. They've always been, top of the line, cutting edge in engineering. They've always made good products. But now they're becoming something else. They're becoming a world power, or they've been one for the last 4 or 5 years or so. So I don't know. It's getting weird out there. It's getting weird when geopolitics interferes with your ability to play a damn video game on your PC. But it's 2025, almost 2026, and this is what it looks like. So, in terms of, gosh, I wish I could offer some forward-looking advice on how to navigate this stuff. I guess it really is, yeah. You should have bought your PC 4 months ago. Is really the best advice I can give.
My advice is literally to cancel all these things. That's as fast as you can do it. And I promise you, if you cancel, you only cancel for a couple months, it's going to hurt them. They will notice it. The numbers will drop, and they'll go, okay, all right. So it's just one of those.
I don't know. NVIDIA's getting their money from other places right now.
They are. But any hurt to their bottom line, I promise, they'll notice at least. It's one of those things. But either way, thank you very much for watching Inside Games, and at least you can watch this show as much as you want. Unless you go over the 100-hour cap, then we're going to charge you for the 15 hours on top of that.
Yeah, then you're going to have to be a YouTube Ultimate subscriber to watch over 100 hours of YouTube videos. God, could you imagine? Never. Anyway, we're lucky enough to make this show because you choose to watch it and spend some of your valuable YouTube Ultimate hours on this show, so thank you very much. We'd also like to extend an extra hearty thank you to the viewers that support us directly via our Patreon. I don't know if we're going to be buying, RAM anytime soon based on that. But hey, at least Bruce can get a side of guac at Chipotle once a week.
Oh yeah, it's great.
And Bruce has to make new inroads at that new Chipotle. I don't know if you're going to get on a first name basis without slipping in an extra guac order every now and then.
I actually already met somebody there at Chipotle, and they watch Inside Games. So hey, Nick, what's going on?
Thank you, Nick at Chipotle, but also thank you very much, Redden003, Rooster, Caleb Clark, Jesse Russo, and Namehogger for packing Bruce full of all those healthy omega-3s and necessary corn salts.
And one last note before we go. This is actually a very somber note. We'd like to extend our respects to Vince Zampella and his family. Vince Zampella is a career studio head and game director, worked on the industry's best shooters. Medal of Honor, Allied Assault, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Titanfall 2, most recently Battlefield 6. So he really was like the godfather of shooters, and I want to say a lot of those mechanics that we love and have been playing for 20 years, he really helped birth them.
Absolutely. Made some of the industry's most progressive, well-designed, beloved games that touched tens, hundreds of millions of people. Odds are you watching this episode have played something that he's worked on, or at the very least been influenced by something that he's made. So absolutely tragic loss here. Zampella did pass away in a very tragic car accident on December 21st, 2025, leaving behind an incredible legacy of some of the best games ever made. A bit of a cheeky reference here, but I think it's appropriate. There really is no F big enough to pay our respects. I just played through all the Call of Duty games. They're all phenomenal. Love that series. Love the man's work. Love his career. So we'll simply say thank you for the great memories and the great experiences, Vince.